Hey guys, welcome back to Andy's Dinosaur Reviews, and today we have something very interesting, something very different than what we've taken a look at in the past. We have a Dinomania, well, not just a, we have two Dinomania figures this time around, but they are actually both hand puppets, and I've never had the opportunity to take a look at any of the puppets from Dinomania. I believe these are kind of newer as far as releases go, so I'm really actually quite intrigued to take a look at these. And on top of having, like, really cool puppets, you can also kind of put them up on your wall and they almost turn into busts, and that's probably what I'll do with them. But we've got two different species here, one of which is a Dilophosaurus and the other of which, go figure, it's a Carnotaurus. But as you can see, the boxes have a really nice window area where you can kind of see the figures themselves. And if we take a look at the packaging of just one, you can see we have vegetation and stuff here around the outside of the box. And then over here on the side, you can see some information that unfortunately is in Spanish, so I can't exactly read it. But we also have a shot over here of one of the hand puppets. And then here on the back, this shows you the different figures, or different hand puppets, I guess I should say, that they have out available. One of which is the T-Rex. You can see a Dilophosaurus. We've also got a Velociraptor and the Carnotaurus. And I'm, of course, most excited for these two. So those are the two that we have here to take a look at today. And nothing else really going on. Not too much else anyway. So let's pop the box open and check these out. So here is our Dilophosaurus, and that actually looks really quite nice, like it really does. And then we've got our Carnotaurus, and that as well actually looks really nice. And like I said, if you want to play with them and use them as hand puppets, it works, of course, because that's exactly what they are. But if you choose to kind of put like a little hook or a nail or anything up on your wall and then just attach them to it through the hand puppet area, these would make some pretty cool busts. And they are very highly detailed, really quite high quality as a whole. I'm very impressed with how nice they actually look out of the packaging. And on top of that, we have beautiful glass eyes for both, which is always a huge plus, something that Dinomania at this point, I would say, is very much so known for. So let's go ahead and jump to a closer look at both of these right now. So starting with the Dilophosaurus, you can see again, it looks really good. It definitely has some very nice looking skin texture here through the course of the face. Some beautiful looking skin texture for the most part. You've got the nostrils sculpted out. You can also see some very different style of detailing there around the eye. And yet again, we do have a very nice glass eye for the figure, or plastic eye. I'm not entirely sure. Probably plastic, I would imagine. But you can definitely see, again, very highly detailed appearance to it, which really helps to bring the overall puppet to life very nicely. Definitely a huge plus as far as using that glass eye sort of look. You can also see that we have the crest of our Dilophosaurus, and we have some super nice, super smooth transitions between colors up there, as well as some lighter tones of color on the crest to make sure that it shines very nicely without being overly flashy or anything. You can see just really nice naturalistic tones of color up there on the head, and that can be said for pretty much the entire figure, as we primarily have like this very nice darker green that transitions to a nice lighter green as you move down the course of the face. And then as you lead down here, you have a mixture of kind of like off-whites and light green tints and stuff, like really nice, very smooth coloration applied to this. And you can also see a nice dark wash is present on this, and you can definitely pick up on that dark wash as you move down through the course of the neck. You've got like some skin folds and stuff there. You can also see again some more nice looking skin texture as you lead up here to the back of the head, and we are kind of covered with larger scales, kind of like osteoderm or scute-like scales up here on the top of the head of the Dilophosaurus, almost crocodilian-like, I would say. We also have the mouth, of course, being a hand puppet, is sculpted in an open position. You can see all of the teeth look pretty good. I don't think they look goofy or generic like you would often see on most hand puppets, which helps to, again, give them more of a high-quality look and definitely gives it that almost model-like feel, or again, bust-like feel. You can also see the tongue is painted with a nice realistic purplish tone on the inside of the mouth. There is a nice gloss coat on the tongue as well. All of the teeth are painted very nicely, very carefully, and everything, again, just looks quite realistic and, quite naturalistic through the course of the inside of the mouth. And of course, we can take a look here at the opposing side of the head, see how nice it looks over here. It looks just as beautiful, honestly, as it did on the initial side of this Dilophosaurus. So I really, really like that Dilophosaurus. And then we've got the Carnotaurus, and I think the Carnotaurus also looks quite awesome. Very cool coloration for the Carno as well. You don't often see blue Carnotaurus, but we do have a blue on this hand puppet version from Dinomania. You can see the nostrils are sculpted out. They're kind of circled there by like osteoderm-like scales, larger scales. And being a Carnotaurus, you kind of expect, some osteoderms to appear on it, but this one is overloaded with them. You can see they are just everywhere. And again, very unique, very interesting appearance for a Carnotaurus. Yet again, we've got that glass eye look going on here, which looks really, really cool. Again, definitely helps to make that eye area stand out, that's for sure. You can see very smooth transitioning between the colors. The skin texture actually looks really nice through the course of the entire head of the Carnotaurus, again, outside of those osteoderms. The osteoderms look cool too, but I'm talking about this area here of the skin texture. It looks really nice with like some nice cracks and crevices in those areas. You can see, of course, the entire upper part of the head of the Carnotaurus is overloaded with those large bumpy scales, similar to the way we had seen it on the Dilophosaurus. We've also got those classic Carnotaurus horns here sculpted out, and they shockingly have kind of like a dark purplish tone or like a maroonish tone for the horns, which is a very interesting idea. But you can see again that we have lots of detail contained within that area as well. There's also a darker tone of color that moves along the center of the upper part of the Carnotaurus. And we've got some ridges moving down here along the spinal column. Again, more clusters of those larger kind of osteoderm-like scales. Again, more ridges running down along the side of the Carnotaurus, pretty much exactly as you usually see Carnotaurus displayed and portrayed. And you can see here we have some skin wrinkles and stuff on the lower part of the neck as you lead down. A little bit of like that hint of like that purplish tone moving down the course of the throat. And you can see the throat itself. Really nice light tones down here for the lower part of the dinosaur. And you can see again a nice dark wash applied. And yet again, the teeth look pretty nice. They don't look goofy or, childlike. They don't look like they're meant to be fake looking. They look pretty decent overall. And we have a similar tone of color for the tongue on the inside of the mouth. Again, with that purplish tone. Nice looking gloss coat for the tongue as well. And again, some more really nice looking detail there for the inside. Nothing over the top, but it looks decent for what it is. You can also see a darkening there of the coloration around the eye as well, which even further helps for that eye to pop and stand out. But the Carnotaurus honestly looks just as awesome as the Dilophosaurus does. Two super cool hand puppets, and I don't really collect hand puppets usually too often outside of the Jurassic Park line, but these ones were just way too good to miss. Definitely some really cool hand puppets from Dinomania. And then, of course, as far as the hand puppets itself go, you can slide your hand in there, and then they work very nicely. You can see they work very smoothly. So if you are in the market for a hand puppet, or if this is the type of thing that interests you, it's pretty cool. Definitely something that is fun to play with, that's for sure. And then, of course, we'll try out the Carnotaurus. Go ahead and get my hand in there, and then check out the movement. Oh boy, it's a little harder to get into the Carnotaurus. But there we can see that the Carnotaurus, just like with the, maybe I can get up there a little further, just like with the Dilophosaurus, works very nicely, and definitely works very smoothly, which is pretty cool. So, and you can also, of course, make it look like our Carnotaurus is alive, and that's fun as well. But they are both really, really cool. Definitely two of the coolest hand puppets I think I've ever seen. As far as a size goes, lengthwise on the Dilophosaurus, you're looking at about 9¼ inches, or around 23½ centimeters. And then height-wise to the top of the crest, about 6¼ inches, or around 16 centimeters. And now I'm attached to the backdrop. Then for the Carnotaurus, lengthwise about 9½ inches, I would say, or around 24 centimeters. And then height-wise to the top of the horn, pretty much the same spot, about 6¼ inches, or just shy of about 16 centimeters. For a size comparison, there is Mr. Papo T-Rex, the Attack Pack Dilophosaurus, and Robert Muldoon from the Mattel Jurassic World toy line, next to our Dinomania Dilophosaurus and Carnotaurus hand puppets. And you can see again, they sport a pretty good, pretty impressive size to them. This is definitely one of those reviews where I don't think numerous comparisons are really going to help us out too much, because it's pretty obvious that what the size of these roughly are. If you are familiar with hand puppets, you'll probably have a pretty good idea of the size of these hand puppets themselves. But if not, then hopefully this comparison right here will help to give you an idea of the size. So these Dinomania Dino puppets, as they're called, are really cool. Definitely two more really neat releases from Dinomania, and they definitely are picking up quite a few different style figures now, as you have the larger kind of stuffed models that I review quite often. You also have the skeleton models that they have out, and now they also have hand puppets. So definitely cool to see them kind of expanding as far as what they sell and what they create. And we have two different very cool hand puppets here today, or dino puppets. We've got a Dilophosaurus, and I think the Dilophosaurus looks super cool. Definitely some really nice naturalistic colors on it, super smooth paint application throughout. I love that it's got that flashy look, but it's not too flashy. It's not overly flashy. I also love the glass eye. I love the fact that they've added realism, like a glossy look to the inside of the mouth and everything. Really nice to see realism and pride, I would say, taken into the release of something like this, because I would expect hand puppets to kind of be like almost an afterthought for most companies, but when it comes to the Dinomania versions, you can clearly see that quite a bit of love and effort was put into these, and that is definitely present on the Dilophosaurus. And on top of that, the Carnotaurus, of course, being my favorite dinosaur of all time, is one that I knew I would want to own, one that would, of course, be near and dear to my heart, and that's exactly the case. The Carnotaurus looks absolutely epic, and really cool coloration for it. Again, I like the fact that we have a nice bluish tone for the Carnotaurus. That isn't something you usually see on Carnos, so that's definitely really neat. And of course, the sculpting and detailing of both is really nice, really high quality, really nicely detailed. Lots of very large bumpy scales on both. They do also have a very nice size to them, so it makes a cool addition to any collection, again, when you look at it from being a hand puppet or even hanging them on your wall like I'm going to do, to kind of almost give it a bust sort of look. And again, either way you go, they look high quality enough that they serve either purpose. But again, if you are using them as hand puppets, they do work nicely. They work very smoothly, and they look really cool on top of everything. So if you are interested in purchasing some of the Dinomania products, I will, of course, include a link in the description to the Dinomania website, but I will also include links to the accounts of Dinomania, because they are trying to find someone in the United States who is interested in stocking and selling the Dinomania product. To my knowledge, so far nobody has stepped up to do that. I'm really hoping that one of these websites out there, one of the dinosaur websites, or even somebody that has a smaller business that is interested in helping Dinomania to sell their products, does reach out at some point soon to make it a little easier for people here in the United States to acquire this stuff, and would definitely be fun to expand the Dinomania line further into the United States. So if you are interested in checking this stuff out, or in, again, selling the Dinomania product, make sure you check those links in the description. Contact Dinomania, or you can contact me and I'll contact them for you, again, to kind of get a conversation going between you and them. But one way or another, definitely some really cool stuff from Dinomania. Highly recommend them. So make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next review. Thanks for watching.